Hello, my name is Jacques Chevalier. Welcome to Methods for Participatory Action Research. In Module 1 of our handbook, we explain how process design can help define and structure an action inquiry process. Participatory action research, however, cannot be guided by general formula or science based on mechanical rules. It is an art based on judgment, creativity, and a lot of practice. Practicing any form of art calls for the development of skills. In this case, skills in using the right means to engage people and mobilize knowledge and action learning for the benefit of all. Our experience suggests that when it comes to collaborative problem solving and goal achievement, several skills come into play. The circular diagram shown here divides the skills into 5 areas: engaging people, grounding the questions, navigating among possible tools, scaling the process to the right level, not too detailed, not too shallow, and making sense of it all through sound reasoning and meaningful explanation. The circle presentation is based on a tool called the Socratic Wheel, described in Module 2. You can use it to assess your competency level for each skill and develop learning objectives to address gaps. Detailed tips on how to develop each skill are offered in Module 1 of the handbook. The first skill consists in being able to engage people, draw knowledge from different perspectives, and facilitate dialogue across social boundaries, cultural settings, and modes of learning. Good facilitation means being able to create a safe environment, suspend judgment, and support attentive listening among participants. Engaging people also requires the ability to accommodate differences in language and styles of communication. By the way, some local ways of doing things may be well established and work well. Storytelling and visual cues in non-literate societies, for example. Identifying and building on differences in views and knowledge is equally important. They may affect how individuals and groups assess the same issues. On this point, knowing which are the key factors that differentiate people in a given context is not always easy. Possible factors include age, gender, sexual orientation, ethnic origin, religion, education, the place of residence, or someone's occupation or role in an organization. When organizing group discussions, a skilled facilitator will recognize situations where homogeneous groups should be the basis for discussion, groups of people that share a particular set of characteristics. In other situations where the purpose is to draw out views that represent the entire group, mixed groups may be the right choice. The second skill is grounding the inquiry process in the right questions, those that are meaningful to people and generate actions and decisions that match their goals and available resources. The ability to ground thinking comes into play when facilitators help people discuss and clarify what they expect from a process. It also involves knowing how to create a psychological and physical environment that encourages creativity. This can be done through humor, games, physical movement, and other forms of creative expression such as symbolism, drawing, theater, photography, or film making. Creative thinking and communication invites people to go beyond simple interpretations of reality. It also helps ground thinking in the body, build awareness, energize the group, release tension, and connect people to their environment and emotions. Navigation is the skill needed to select and combine different forms of inquiry and participation to help people deal with uncertainty and the unknown in a timely fashion. Practitioners of action inquiry learn to identify the questions that should be addressed first and the moment to end one discussion and move on to the next. They learn how to frame and also unpack a group discussion by keeping track of different lines of thinking and parking topics that should be discussed later. Skillful navigation also involves mapping out the most appropriate collaborative techniques and technologies needed to reach the destination. Being able to vary the methods, if only to avoid the fatigue of repetition, is important here. Finally, practitioners must be able to change plans and adjust or replace a tool with a different one along the way, based on a clear understanding of where the group wants to go. Scaling an action inquiry to the right level of detail is another critical skill. The methods used must fit the situation with respect to the depth of evidence mobilized or collected, the detail of planning, and the level of participation needed to achieve results. Among other things, scaling helps define the right level of abstract or concrete thinking needed to move forward. The technique known as laddering up is particularly useful here. It helps people move from the specific to the general, that is, when statements seem to be too anecdotal. It asks, why is this incident or statement important? Laddering down is the opposite. It invites people to provide an example when a statement made is too abstract or vague. Scaling also involves being able to manage time effectively. Enough time must be planned to go through all the steps of an exercise in group thinking, with breaks during the process as needed. Adjusting the level of participation is equally important. Skillful scaling avoids two extremes. One extreme is when the process becomes unwieldy and exhausting because too many people, resources, or inquiry tools are brought together. The temptation to generate exhaustive amounts of data and analysis can make stakeholder participation difficult, with the result that action is postponed to a distant future once all factors are fully analyzed by everyone. The other extreme is a tight circle of people using simple and ready-made methods that fail to make the inquiry meaningful and reliable. The middle way is to aim for a good enough level of inquiry and engagement based on existing constraints and goals. The right level is the one that satisfies felt needs and expectations and is neither superficial nor exceedingly comprehensive. The tool validation in Module 3 is handy for thinking through how much evidence and participation are needed before any action can be taken. Instead of aiming for maximum participation and maximum evidence, the action inquiry should be scaled with strategic goals, time available, and scope for immediate follow-up in mind. As with most things that matter, good enough is perfect. Sense making is the skill needed to co-create meaning in complex situations. Meaning emerges by integrating information and analyzing quantitative and qualitative data. It also involves incorporating theoretical insights into stories and explanations that inspire and persuade. When conducting a participatory inquiry, the task of analyzing and interpreting research should involve the people that provide the data and information. It should also acknowledge the language and concepts that people use or create to make sense of their own reality. Practitioners must therefore know when and how to use tools that start with no assumptions whatsoever and allow instead participants to use their own terms and concepts for discussion. Being able to facilitate the use of qualitative methods such as storytelling, is important here. Qualitative thinking helps answer the what and why questions, provide the context, the sequence of events, a sense of direction and purpose. It adds richness and texture to understanding the situation and how people feel about it. This does not preclude using diagrams and tables to organize information and findings in ways that are clear, logical, and succinct. Mixed methods have a lot to offer. However, it is important to remember that analytic tools and numbers and measurements are not ends in themselves. They're a means to provide information, clarify people's views or knowledge about a topic, define priorities, focus attention during a group discussion, structure the conversation, and find patterns. Structured tools may also reduce tensions by providing an external point of reference and bringing out issues that tend to be ignored. In the end, how much attention is given to formal and quantitative tools depends on the weight given to different knowledge systems, such as science and local experience and know-how, and the importance of creating a productive dialogue between them. Again, those who wish to know more about these skills and related tips are encouraged to consult the handbook.